Today on the Towards Understanding podcast, we're going to be chatting with Michelle, who is a producer, and Jacob, a cast member from Spotlight Theatre over in the US. They do some incredible work with those with development delay or intellectual disability, and to let them put on a remarkable, and we're talking it is a remarkable stage production. Great idea, great concept, and as you were here, a fantastic outcome as well. Let's get stuck into this interview with Michelle and Jacob. Michelle and Jacob, thank you so much for your time.
You are so welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, it's wonderful to have you both. Michelle, rather than me trying to explain Spotlight and all of the best things that are about it, how do you explain that to people? What is Spotlight? When you give you a 30, 60-second summary, how do you describe it?
Yeah, I get happy to do so. Thank you for asking some questions. So Spotlight Theater is a program from a disability ministry of a church in Dallas, Texas called Highland Park United Methodist Church that is in its 15th production year right now. And it's an extraordinary opportunity to allow individuals to come together to create a story, to share that story with the community. And it's just something it's our honor to do every year for the participants.
And so how did this story first come about in terms of, well, this is a great idea? Do you know the background on how this actually sort of created into that? Because I believe it's not just people in the local area who are involved, like all around the country, if the states are trying to get involved.
Yeah, that's a great question. So the idea came from a member of our community. Her name was Sue Ringel. Sue had family up in the northern states that she went to a theater program, and it was a theater program completely created. The idea was created by individuals with disabilities. And she came back to Texas and said, we got to do the same thing right here. And at the time, the leader of our church community said, well, let's get it done. And so that was precipitated the first production series 15 years ago. It is a program that is completely funded by the church community. None of the participants have to pay to be a part of it. And that's how it got started, just the seed of an idea and a leader that believed in it. And we've been running ever since.
Love that. Now, Jacob, you participated in the most recent edition of Spotlight. Tell me a little bit of your story. How did you first hear about Spotlight?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Clayton. So I was originally from Roswell, New Mexico. We moved to Texas to find a school for me that helped with my autism. And my family has noticed that I really like to act on stage, thanks to my high school, because they always do Christmas plays every year. And then they found Spotlight, and they thought that I would that'd be something I'd really like. And when me and Dad saw one of their plays back in 2017, I'm just like, yeah, I would really like this. And so I've been on the waiting list for a while now, and then finally in 2021, that's when I finally got a part of it.
It must have been fantastic to have that moment to finally be in there. Tell us a little bit, Jacob, about how does the auditioning process work, and the nerves that maybe you might have had as you went into that.
Yeah, so very interesting. The whole process is actually via like a kind of like a raffle or lottery system. At least now it's like that. Basically, the whole thing is anyone who is on the waiting list or wants to be part of a production again and gets their name put into like something like a basket or a hat, and they pull out different names, and whoever is drawn gets to be part of it. And luckily, my name was one of those drawn ones.
Michelle, talk to us a little bit about from a producing and a directing perspective, as so many people wanting to be involved. How do you go about actually going through that process of putting people into their best parts?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, Jacob alluded a little bit to a lottery system. So, the program, because of the potential support that's needed at any given year for our participants, our program is maxed out at 25 participants. So, it's oftentimes we find ourselves in situations where we have more interest than we have capacity. And that's when we move to the lottery system. And when it comes to the parts that they are casted into, to be honest with you, they are creating their parts. The group starts assembling at late summer for us, August, early September. They ideate a story. It's all monitored, if you will, and shepherded by the actual program. And she draws out these ideas and characters and themes out of our participants and weaves it into a story. And then she takes that story, identifying the characters, and assigns our actors individual cast parts. It is truly a magical process where this director can take all of these extraordinary ideas and put them together.
Yeah, really is remarkable. I love the idea of this, the concept of it, and then the willingness of everybody involved. It's truly remarkable. Jacob, tell us a little bit about the production that you were a part of. What was the focus of sort of the play and the production you put on?
So the focus was I listened to the other cast members and saw what they wanted to do, and something that came up during the before Spotlight actually began that year was someone a beloved participant of Spotlight actually recently passed away, and his widow was actually one of the cast members in the next play that year. So someone actually said because of that, one of the cast members decided that maybe we should talk about grief or something kind of doing sort of a tribute for someone that is so beloved that a group has unfortunately lost. And so hearing that was it was interesting. Also there might have been some suggestions for sibling rivalry. I was actually amongst the sort of sibling, well, not rivalry, just kind of commotion. I was one of the siblings in the play, so I got the chance to do that and kind of show my skills.
Jacob, tell us as well this idea that says, from your perspective, here you are. I'm imagining your very first play. It's probably focusing enough and nerve-wracking enough and exciting enough just to be doing that. Suddenly to also have all these documentary cameras around it, which has been made into this film, into the spotlight, did that add a different dimension, or because it was your first sort of play, well, that's just how it works?
Yeah, so it was a very interesting experience. And it's not just that being my first play with them, but also having that play be filmed by an entire crew of documentary people. So they would always almost every day they would give us these mics that we had to stick to ourselves so they can hear what we were saying. And we see cameras just following us around, and every now and then, and some of the cast members would actually get interviewed to talk about their experiences. Another interesting thing is that I actually wasn't one of the chosen cast members to be interviewed at first, but then once they saw me acting more, and more and more my personality started to be shown to them. They were just like, yeah, we gotta have this guy be one of the interviewees, I'll call them.
Michelle, from your perspective, in terms of inviting in a camera crew and being a part of that process, it's one thing to put on a production and have that more in perhaps a controlled environment, in the sense that the church knew what they were trying to do, they knew how they were trying to honour everybody, they were trying to do that, but suddenly letting a camera crew in, you don't know how they're going to edit or frame that, or what they might doing. Was that something that was, I'm imagining, given a lot of thought before that happened?
Yeah, that's a great question. It is a bit of a leap of faith, right? You hire some documentarians, and you hope that they see what we see every year, the joy that this production brings to our community every year. And it was very unique. The crew, we actually let them have pretty free reign on the story as they were diving deep into the background of the actual production and getting to know our protagonist and the conflict and resolution and all that. And so we let them just kind of run with it. The only piece that we really, really held strong to is like, this has to be their voice. It has to be their words, their acting, their experiences. And so that's really where the church got really involved. And that was my role as executive producer on this, to make sure that was the case. In no way did we want to take away from the voices and the talent and the experience of our actors.
From the church's perspective, and this radio program's on a host of various Christian radio stations across Australia and New Zealand, has the aims of what the church was trying to do been fully achieved?
Yeah, when I was tasked with this amazing project from the church, the one thing they asked for is, we've got to get this story out. Our hope was to inspire other churches, other community groups to do what we do. And because we see the magic of it every year, we've seen individuals with limited abilities do some extraordinary things on stage. Over the years, we've seen individuals that have a very difficult time communicating through their language, and all of a sudden they talk for the first time in front of their parents on stage. And so we've seen these wonderful things happen, and the goal for us was to inspire other communities. And we've been an open book to people that have reached out to us. This is how we do it. And we share everything that we know, and hoping that they'll take it and they'll do more.
Jacob, as we wrap up, from your perspective, what has it meant for you to go and do this? You always had this idea, this sort of concept, your whole family realised you love acting. What has it meant, as you sort of look back on a few productions now, to have been a part of Spotlight?
Wow. I have to say, being part of Spotlight meant a lot for me, because I just love to like entertain people. Like, that's kind of, I feel like that's been one of my strong suits, like ever since I was born. And so to do that and just be an inspiration, like, for people to just be hopeful, encouraged, and just joyful. I'm glad that we are not only able to like tell like a message, but also to just well, like I said, entertain people, and also and to just like show people what it's like to kind of have fun once again, because that was my goal, like that whole documentary experience, because I felt like this was like sort of during the pandemic. So like I felt like a lot of people's souls were just a little bit on the crushed side. So I wanted to do what I can to help people out, and I wanted to help people out, because like community is strong. What can I say?
Yeah, I love that. Michelle, final question for you as we do wrap up our time. I wanted to ask you around the idea that, here is a church community who is trying to make a remarkable stance and not trying to, in a sense, say, well, it has to be this or this or this the way we say it. We just want to provide something for a group of people who perhaps aren't having these opportunities. It originally started from another idea where someone else had seen it. You're speaking to people across Australia and New Zealand now. If there's a church community or a community who says, hey, we want to make something like this, what would be a first starting point to say, actually, this would be a great thing to get involved in? What's the first things they should be thinking about?
Yeah, I think it is the secret sauce for us has been finding an individual that understands the craft of creating story, and finding a potential theater community that could support, the process along the way. And I think if you have those two foundational pieces, the sky's the limit. I think that there's an extraordinary need for individuals with all abilities to have opportunities to shine on stage. And the way we do it may not be the perfect way for all organizations. And it doesn't even have to be a theater performance. We also have a short film experience for the same community, which is a little bit different twist than a full theater production. And we also have what we call rock band, where some of our participants their strength may not be acting, but they sure do love to play musical instruments. So we have a rock band too. So it's taking that opportunity for the creativity and the art for them to shine in whatever that interpretation looks like for that community, that church community.
Well, we wish you guys all the best, and we look forward to people seeing Into the Spotlight as well, and understanding and getting to see you in action in a visual form as well, Jacob. So, Jacob, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Clayton.
Michelle, thank you for joining us as well.
You are so welcome. Thank you again for having us and letting us share our story. We're very grateful for the opportunity.
Oh, wonderful. Jacob, one of the cast members, Michelle, the producer of Into the Spotlight documentary, and remarkable work. This is Towards Understanding.